Hello and good evening, everyone. And thank you for watching. And I want to talk about this evening about the Abrahamic God. Okay, so we've got like Yahweh, and in the case of the Muslims, we've got Allah. But Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are what are known as the Abrahamic religions. And so we're talking about the Abrahamic God of the Old Testament, or the Torah, or the Quran. Okay? And I put it to you tonight that the Abrahamic God, okay, is not the creator of the universe. Now, I can't prove that the Abrahamic God is not the creator of the universe, but I want to share with you a few points as to why I believe he is not. And interesting, let's start on that point. I said he. Okay, and I never really understood why God is addressed as a he, as a male, when it would make more sense that the real true God of the universe that created the universe would be genderless, right? Male, female energy, that yin yang energy, that perfect balance. Surely a supernatural being isn't a gender like a 3D human or mammal or animal being, you would have thought, right? Okay, so I think the idea of God being a he comes from the fact in recent modern history, certainly not in Judaism, who is the source of the Abrahamic religions, the fact that with the Trinity that Jesus is God essentially, and the personification of God and Jesus being male, right? And I think that's maybe where it comes from, and the fact that in the Old Testament it's God is referred to as he. Okay, but anyway, let's move on from that. So you see, what happens is I want to talk about the God of the gaps. Okay, so when theists are debating the existence of God, they basically hit brick walls in we get to stages in our thinking about existence and the universe where we cannot comprehend with our limited minds and cognitive ability. We can't comprehend, we can't imagine eternity, we can't imagine infinity, we can't imagine nothingness, right? So we introduce the God of the gaps, right? And we say, well, it can't be nothing, therefore God, right? We don't understand, we don't have an explanation, therefore it must be God, right? Now science has evolved and developed, and it's accelerated in modern times to tremendous levels, and will continue accelerating. Okay, but in science of the old times, science, was once wrong, and it was once laughable. Some of the scientific facts of the old days, when they believed that you would suffocate if you went over 30 miles per hour, that the earth was flat, or that the earth was suspended on two tortoises, propped up by an elephant, or that the earth was the center of the solar system and that the sun revolved around the earth. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy things, and those things are now obsolete and replaced with more accurate science, because we have developed in our intelligence and our information, right? But what happens is with theism, there's no room for, okay, well, one day we'll find out as we get more information, gather more data, and as we develop and evolve in our intelligence, if we keep trying and keep seeking, we'll maybe find a plausible explanation. There's none of that with theism. It's like you hit a point of non-understanding, or not being able to comprehend, and then immediately attribute the credit to God. So we can't explain it, therefore God must exist. It's a jump. It's a big jump. You don't go from, well, I don't understand it, to God must exist. God must have done it. All right. Now, if you were to say, okay, the universe is so mysterious and amazing that it would seem as though there was some intelligent design, that's a different matter that I can get behind you on, and I could be open to that suggestion. But the God of Abraham, because what happens is you make another jump now, all right? You make another jump to, okay, it must be God, and therefore the Bible is true, all right? That's a jump. Okay, why can't you say, okay, well, it must be God that created everything, and therefore Islam is true. Therefore Allah is God. That proves Allah's existence. Or therefore, Judaism is true, or Hinduism, or like any gods of any religion on the earth, right? Any religion can prove the existence of their God via the same argument. Well, they can't prove it, but they can use that same argument, and they do, right? It would be like a Jehovah's Witness saying, oh, our religion is the true religion because we've got evidence that God created the universe. And what is their evidence? Well, their evidence is that, we can't explain nothingness. We can't explain that something came from nothing, and therefore God is true and God exists. It's a jump. It's a speculation. It's not proof. It's not proof at all. So yeah. Now here's the thing. Okay. Omnipotence. Okay. So the God of the Bible, the Abrahamic God, claims to be an omnipotent God. And you would have to be omnipotent to have existed before the universe and to have created the universe, probably, because creating the universe is a very large task. Okay. Now, I don't see any evidence of an omnipotent God of the Bible. We see in Scripture itself that the God of the Bible travelled and visited places to investigate things. The Tower of Babel, he came down to check it out. Why would he need to come down if he was able to know everything just from where he sits on his throne? Okay. He walked with Adam in the cool of the evening in the garden, and then when Adam had sinned, he called out to Adam and said, Adam, where are you? Okay. So I think the theist argument is that, yeah, God knew where Adam was, but he was testing Adam to see if Adam would own up to where he was. Okay. Well, that's a jump. I mean, if you join the dots and take all things into consideration, you would question God's omnipotence, the God of the Bible. Okay. So, also let's look at, modern day people suffering. People suffering unnecessarily, freak acts of nature, right? Natural disasters and things, so you could say, well, why doesn't God intervene and prevent that if he's omnipotent? Well, the theist argument is that God has to allow these things to happen. He is allowing it to happen, and he will come back one day and put an end to it. That's convenient. Still doesn't answer why does he not intervene and prevent suffering and natural disasters. Okay. Thousands of years mankind has been suffering because of the crime of one man and one woman, Adam and Eve, from the Garden of Eden. Okay. So they supposedly did a bad thing. It didn't seem like too big a deal to me, but they only ate some fruit, but it was a big deal, and it meant that everyone is damned to hell unless they're saved by the sacrifice of an innocent. And because of that reason, God sent his son and sacrificed his own son, which is bizarre. But that's what had to happen. There had to be the shedding of blood of an innocent to save humanity, right? And not only that, but God sacrificed his own son. That's how the story goes in the Bible. Well, where's the omnipotent? If an omnipotent God that could do anything that he wanted. Surely he could just say, oh, you know what? Let's just draw a line. Let me explain everything. Let's put everything right. Let's just go. Let's move forward. There's no need for anyone to get killed. You know, I know that apologists have this long explanation. Okay, but you know what? It's convenient. It's trying to justify it. But I think everyone deep down knows that, you know what? It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. I came away from Christianity. The whole, it started falling apart for me. Coincidentally, but probably not coincidentally, right at the time that I became a parent. Okay, because like I know the love that you have for your son, and like I don't see much love displayed between the father and the son. If the father was willing to have his son tortured and killed when it was apparently necessary, but who makes it necessary? Okay, so is he bound by the own laws of the universe? Right, so let's suppose for a moment that it is absolutely necessary for the shedding of the blood and the sacrifice of an innocent being to forgive the entire of humanity, the entirety. Let's just suppose for a moment that that is absolutely necessary, right? Who made that necessary? The creator of the universe? So could not the creator of the universe have had another way, yeah, without any tears and any heartache and any suffering and pain, right? Surely there would be another way. Okay, so like Satan is the god of the world, Christians say. Well, God could get rid of Satan if he wanted to. I don't really even know what Satan's big crime was anyway, because, even the Bible itself says that he contradicted God in the garden. I mean, there's two sides to every story. Maybe he didn't like the way that God was demanding obedience and preventing man from having the knowledge of good and evil, right? So I want to do another video sometime in the future about the whole Garden of Eden experience, okay? So a little teaser on that. Okay, so basically God said, do not eat of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for in the day that you do, your eyes shall be opened and you'll become like God. Well, how did they know that it was wrong to eat the fruit if they did not have knowledge of good and evil, right? Their eyes were not opened at that point. Only after they ate the fruit did they have the knowledge of good and evil. So how could they have had the knowledge that, oh, it's wrong to disobey God? And besides, it doesn't say that they disobeyed God. It says that they were deceived. Okay, because the serpent deceived them. Well, we can all be deceived, can't we? You go to like a car dealership and there's like this shady, dodgy car dealer and you don't know much about cars and he's going to sell you a heap of junk. He's deceived you, right? Or are you like a bad person because you've been deceived? Maybe, every day we meet people that are really persuasive and really convincing and really charismatic, and they put forward this stuff, and it might be all junk, but at the end of the day, we are convinced by it and we are deceived. So are we sinning by being deceived? Are we wrong? Are we deserving of death? It's not logical. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, we've come a long way from the original topic of the God of the gaps and the God of Abraham and the creator of the universe and omnipotence and all that. But that's how I roll, We start off on something and then the talk takes on a life of its own and goes in another direction sometimes. So that's how it is. Anyway, thank you for listening. Please subscribe to my channel. Talk to you again.